Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the YouTube channel or on the podcast. We're so glad that you're here. And today we're going to dive into talking about high ticket versus low ticket items that you should be building and selling. Let's jump into it. Alrighty, well, hey guys, welcome back. So excited that you're here with us. Hey, if you haven't liked or subscribed to our channel yet, please make sure you do that because we're going to be putting out content on a weekly basis, helping you guys build a business and a life that you've dreamed of as a full-time woodworker. And so today I want to spend some time talking about high ticket versus low ticket. So what do I mean when I say high ticket versus low ticket? Well, what I'm referring to is the price that you charge for your items, or how big your items are, or how expensive they are, how much value they offer to your customers. And so low ticket is usually referred to as anything around $100 or less, or it could even be like up to $500 would be considered a low ticket item. Now high ticket is really anything above $500. And what I want to do is I just want to start with simple math for you guys, because anytime that you set a goal to become a full-time woodworker or to leave your job or to do whatever you're dreaming of doing, you have to understand the math. You got to start with the math of how much work is this going to take? What should I do? And a lot of times people, they get started in something without much strategy. And strategy is absolutely crucial to your success. And so what I want to do is I just want to break down a little bit of math for you guys today and talk about, ultimately I'll give you my preference on what you should do to scale your business and maybe quit your job, do this full time. So let's look at it. So for simplicity's sake, I just created the path to $100,000 here. Now, the path to $100,000 can be composed of lots of different things. So you can be selling $10 items, $50 items, $100 items, $500 items, $1,000 items, and I just put, just for reference on here, $3,000 items, because we sell a lot of $3,000 items in our business. And so $10 items, what can you sell for $10? Lots of little things, right? Lots of little trinkets, lots of little small items that you make in your shop. $50 items, really $50 to $100. You know, this is kind of where the cutting board market tends to land. And you see some people that make a killing selling cutting boards. $500 items. What are we selling for $500? Well, right when you get in the game of maybe making dining tables or beds or porch swings, things like that, you probably sell them around that $500 mark. You could also sell coffee tables. Any type of furniture really could put you around this $500 mark. Now, $1,000. What can you sell for $1,000? Well, you can sell a nice dining table. You can sell a living room set, you know, a couple end tables and a coffee table. You can sell lots of stuff for $1,000. You can sell a king-size bed for $1,000. You know, you can sell cabinetry work for $1,000, right? And then $3,000. What can you sell for $3,000? Well, we sell dining table sets. You can sell bedroom sets. You can sell higher-end dining tables. You know, I did sell a dining room table for $6,500 this past November. Now it's really high-end. It's got epoxy, live edge, metal legs. It's a high-end product, but you can sell stuff for $3,000. Okay. So what this is this is just how many units it's going to take you to get to $100,000 in sales, right? And so if you're selling a $10 item, you're going to have to sell 10,000 units of that item to hit $100,000 in sales. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, if you're selling a $50 item, it's only going to take you 2,000 units. Okay, a $100 item, it's going to take you 1,000 units. $500 item, it's only going to take you 200 units. Now, you notice this giant jump here between how many units it's going to take you from 100 to 500. This starts, in my mind, this becomes very reasonable to me, okay? And then this is where it really gets beautiful. A $1,000 item, well, it's only going to take you 100 units to reach $100,000 selling a $1,000 item. And then if you can get up to around that $3,000 mark, well, it's only going to take you 33.4 units to reach your $100,000. So why do we talk about this? What's the point in sharing this information, this data? Well, how would you rather sell 10,000 units of something, or would you rather sell 33 units of something to get to the same goal? Okay. Now I want you to think, every unit has a customer. Okay. If you're selling 10,000 units, you're usually selling them, you might sell multiple units to the same person, but you're going to have way more customers, way more customer service. You're going to have way more complaints. You're going to have way more opportunity to mess something up, as opposed to a 33.4 unit process to reach your goal. And the thing I want you to just remind you of is that as much as, you know, we want to build what we want to build and do what we want to do, ultimately, if you want to do this full time, you want to own your own business, this is what matters. You have to be profitable and you have to make money. And so you can go about that different ways, but my personal preference, I would always rather stay on this end of the high ticket versus low ticket debate, because you have way less customers, you have way less headache. And let me just tell you this, when it comes to you spending money in marketing, it's going to cost you about the same money to acquire a customer, whether you are selling a $10 item or you're selling a $3,000 item. And I know that sounds crazy. It sounds crazy that it would cost almost the same, but it's hard to acquire customers in this market. And so it's hard to get people's attention. It's hard to get them to purchase. And now you will have a higher conversion rate on these small items than you would a $3,000 item. But you get way more bang for your buck selling large ticket items with your marketing dollars. I've found. Now, I also know companies that sell $30, $40, $50, $60, $80 items that just they win by volume. But they also got into the game a long time ago online, before, you know, advertising costs went up and it was much, much easier for them to acquire customers. Okay. So now here comes the second component of this, right? So what I want to talk about is how many working days there are in a year. Okay. So on average, there's 261 working days in a year. Okay. So if you decided, okay, I'm going to make these wooden spoons, these $10 wooden spoons, and I'm going to sell these to get to my $100,000 mark. Well, I'm going to produce 10,000 of these wooden spoons. This is a terrible example, but hopefully it works for you. Well, you're going to have to make and sell 38.3 wooden spoons a day to do that. How feasible is it right now for you to make 38 wooden spoons a day? Okay, just think about that. I'm not going to add any commentary. Just think on that. Okay, $50 item. Okay, I'm going to make a small cutting board, right? I'm going to make a small cutting board. That's how I'm going to get to $100,000. Well, you got to make 7.5 cutting boards a day. Okay? How feasible is it for you to make 7.5 cutting boards a day? It's pretty feasible, but you have to have a reliable and consistent way to sell them, right? 7.5 of them a day. Okay? So we move to a $100 item. Let's say that we move to a big cutting board, right? You only got to sell 1,000 of them. Well, how many of these do you have to make a day? Well, you have to make and sell 3.8 of those per day. Okay? 3.8 per day. $500 item, 200 units. You only have to, this is where it starts getting better. Okay? You don't even have to make or sell one a day. You can just sell 0.77 units per day. So every 2 days, you're selling 1.5. Every 4 days, you're selling 3. Okay? So you're selling a little bit less than one every single day. Okay, at $500. Now at $1,000, you only have to make 100 units. You only have to sell 0.38 per day, or make 0.38 per day. So every 3 days, on the third day, so every 3 days, you just have to sell 1 unit. Okay? Now, this is also in working days. This doesn't include selling on the weekends or building on the weekends. If you wanted to do that, you could. But most people don't go into business for themselves to try to work 80 hours a week, right? So, and then a $3,000 item at 33.5 units per year to hit $100,000, well, you only have to do 0.13 units per day. You only have to sell like one of these like every 6 days, 7 days, right? To hit your goal. So one a week to hit your goal of $100,000. Now, Another disclaimer here, this is $100,000 in revenue. This is not $100,000 in profit. So this is one thing that I totally missed when I started my business. Thank God I found it since. But this is revenue. So how much are your material costs? How much are your expenses? Do you have employees? So this isn't even saying that you're going to take home $100,000. This is saying you're probably going to take home closer to like $50,000. Okay, and so keep that in mind. So now let's say that you have to double it to get to your $100,000 goal of take-home pay. Well, then you need to sell 200,000. So you need to sell 66.8, 200, 400, 2,000, 4,000, 20,000 units, and then all these double how much you have to produce per day. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And so another thing I want to talk about is when we get into the high ticket, low ticket debate, really is what does it take to manufacture this stuff? What do you need to be really good at if you want to go low ticket? And what do you need to be really good at if you want to go high ticket? So let's jump into that. All right, so let's talk about what you have to be good at in order to run a low ticket item business. And so these are the things that if you're going to do this, if you're going to go this path, you need to be really good at these things, okay? So these are what your strengths must be. Number one is automation. Automation. Now, what do I mean when I say automation? I mean that you have systems and you have things that allow you to either manufacture or sell these items while you're sleeping, right? Or get this work done. Like you can't, let's go back to the spoon example of you selling, 38 spoons a day. Well, are you going to be able to be awake enough hours to talk to 38 customers a day? Well, you're probably talking to more than 38 customers a day because you're only going to sell a percentage of those. So say you talk to 100 customers a day, sell 38 of them, and then go make the 38 spoons? No. So what I see a lot of low ticket item woodworking businesses really succeed at is they get a CNC machine, or they get an X-carve, or they get something along those lines that allow them to put something on the machine, set it, walk away from it, and it basically manufactures whatever they're trying to sell for that, $10 to $150, $200 mark. And so automation is going to be really, really important. Now, systems and processes really, because you're probably going to need to have a team if you're going to sell a lot of small ticket items. And so what this means is that there's just a way that you do things, which processes are important regardless, whether you're in low ticket or high ticket items that you're selling. But it's going to be incredibly important because you're going to be doing so much volume, okay? Number three is customer service. You're going to have a really, really, really strong customer service team because you're going to have so many customers. You're going to be dealing with so many people that they're going to be people that want to return their items, that want a refund, that it arrived and it was broken. Or, right, you're just going to have so much volume that there are going to be people that have complaints, have issues that you're going to need to be able to take care of those people. You're going to need to be a marketing guru because you're going to have to acquire so many customers, okay? That kind of goes hand in hand with my next point in that you must have a nationwide audience. Let's say you live in let's say you live in a well-populated area, but you're trying to sell 10,000 items. Well, I live in a town of about 100,000 people. It would be really, really hard for me to get to 10% of the entire city to buy the one thing that I want them to buy, right? That's a pretty high, lofty goal, okay? And then the last thing is you really need to be able to build a big team. You're going to need customer service. You're going to need people that help you manufacture. There's just so much organization that goes into play with low ticket items. And I'm not saying you can't do it, but you need to have probably more of a business background, honestly, to be able to do this. So let's talk about high ticket. Let's jump into that. I think you might like that one a little bit better. All right, so diving into high ticket items. So let's talk about really what the strengths or the pros are to this, and maybe what you need to be good at in order to do this. Now, the good news is that you don't have to be as good, honestly. As long as you have a great product, you can do this much more easily. It's much easier for somebody with no experience to get into selling high ticket items. If you can make a good product, than it is to do low ticket items. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so the number one reason is that it can start with just you. You're not talking to 100 something people a day. You know, you're not having to worry about that. You're selling 1 to 3 things a week, and so it makes it very easy for you to talk to customers one-on-one, solve their problems, answer their questions, and provide a solution to whatever it is they're looking for. Now, so you can start with just you. So you're not spending a ton of time in customer service. You're not spending a ton of time in sales, and you can actually be the one that handles it all. So you can, maybe spend an hour or 2 a day working on marketing, sales, talking to customers, and then spend the other part of your day actually building or manufacturing whatever it is that you're going to sell. Okay. Now, you have to have a great product. You cannot sell a high ticket item and it be a trash product. If you don't have a great product, you're not going to last in this. So you need to be really good at figuring out what people like and refining your product until it becomes what people really want, what people really like. And so I can't emphasize this enough. You know, we at Iron by Iron Designs, we have gone through lots of renditions of our dining tables, and we found things that work better, things that the wood we allow for wood movement and nothing bows or cracks or splits or twists. Different paints, different finishes, different things that where we've done this for about 5 years now. We really know, what's the best paint, what's the best finish, what's the best wood, what's the best way to assemble this table so that it's going to hold up and last a lifetime for these customers. And it's cool being able to confidently tell people that. That's a really neat thing. So now another great benefit of selling high ticket is that you don't have to have a nationwide market. You could just sell to your local market, okay? Because follow me here for a second. Let's say you're building you go with the highest ticket item that I talked about earlier, $3,000. Well, you only need 33 people to buy it, right? And so no matter how small of a town you're in, now obviously if you're in a really small town, you don't have access to any people anywhere, you're still going to have a challenge with this, but not nearly as much if you're trying to sell 10,000 spoons locally, right? So you only have to sell 33 people over the course of the year to break the $100,000 mark at $3,000 a piece. Okay, I mentioned this before. You only have to sell 1 to 3 items per week. Another great thing with this is that you can build as quickly or as slowly as you want with this. You can, maintain the same pace that you're at with just you being the only guy or the only girl making it happen. If you want to increase your advertising spend, you want to reach out to a little bit larger market around you, you can, bring on your first employee. And it's much, much easier to manage a smaller team than it is a large team. Okay. And then generally, not always, but generally there's higher margins in these high ticket products. Okay. If you charge more money, usually, and you do refine your product, you make it great, usually you can be running about 70% margins. Now, what does that look like? So for us, 65 to 70% margins on your product if you're building it yourself. Now, if you're having to pay labor, those margins drop dramatically. But if you're the one building it yourself, for every $1,000 that you $1,000 item that you sell, well, you're really going to bring home about $600 to $650 on that. And so that's pretty great, I think. Well, hey, that's all I've got for you today when we talk about high ticket versus low ticket and why I think, in my personal opinion, you should go with the high ticket items, a high ticket business, as opposed to low ticket. Now, a lot of you will be successful selling low ticket items, and I am not discrediting that at all. However, I do, from my personal experience and from my own personal opinion, think it's going to be a lot easier to get started doing this full-time, selling high ticket items for the average person. Now, you're still going to need some skills, you're still going to need some new beliefs, you're still going to need some character traits to make it happen, but I believe that you can do it. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for liking this video, leaving a comment below, and subscribing to the channel. We just started this YouTube channel this year, and I'm really excited about that. If you're listening to this on the podcast, go find us on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, go find my podcast, Handmade Business Secrets. You can search my name, Zach Vaught, as well. And yeah, thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next one.